Good morning, good morning, good morning. Places, please. I welcome you to Unity of Wilmington's hybrid service. Please stand and join us as we sing our welcome song and say hello to your neighbors as well. Thank you.
When all God's children get together, what a time, what a time, what a time. Gonna sit down on the banks of the river. What a time that will be. When all God's children sing together. What a time, what a time, what a time. All the angels in the heavens gonna join right along. What a time that will be. Rock of my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock of my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock of my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock of my soul. When all God's children stand together. What a time, what a time, what a time. All the hearts in the world gonna rejoice as one. What a time that will be. What a time that will be.
And so it is. What a time it is. Welcome again. I'm Lainey Morger, your platform host for this day. This is Unity of Wilmington, and I welcome you all here, both here in person and out there in cyberspace. The gentleman walking back and forth is Christopher Dean, our sound and light technician, who keeps us being heard and online and in the air. Our speaker for today will be Reverend Ellen Contente. Our celebration singers were your greeting songsters. Our soloist will be Christopher Rickert, who's over there. Our musicians, Justin, Mitch, and our music director is Katie Deese. Our prayer partner and the person who will be doing the daily word is Teresa Rodriguez, and you'll meet her momentarily. Oh, they'll tell me what's going on eventually. Anyway, Teresa's going to do the daily word, if I'm not mistaken. Not yet. First of all, I invite you all. Anybody here for the first time? Wow. Welcome to all, and I understand we have some travelers in the audience who are here on a trip around the country. Welcome to you, and Godspeed in all your travels. Anybody here for the second or third time? Well, welcome to you all who have been here many times. Keep on coming back because it's a great place to be. And then, to all of you out there, keep coming back as well. So I would invite you to join me in our principle of belief. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good omnipotence. And therefore we are, I am a beloved expression of God. I am here for a holy purpose. I am in the right place at the right time right now. And now Teresa will do our daily word.
Good morning. Daily Word is a Unity publication that you can order, and we also have copies out in the lobby for $3. And today is June 25th, and the daily word is joy. And the affirmation is, I am blessed with indwelling joy. Let's all say that together. I am blessed with indwelling joy. In John's Gospel, Jesus prays his disciples and all who receive their message will experience for themselves the joy he knows. I share in Jesus' joy as I remember I am a living expression of the divine, created in God's image and likeness, just as Jesus was. My ability to express love, life, wisdom, and all other qualities of God is limited only by my willingness to live from my spiritual nature. I am one with God and one in the allness of God, with all people everywhere. The joy Jesus described remains with me no matter what is happening around me. I know wholeness in the midst of illness, abundance amid the appearance of lack. Even sadness in the aftermath of loss can never overtake my joy. And from the Bible, I have John 15, verse 11. Verse 15, I have said these things to you, so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Christopher.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there will still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be.
Let's give Chris another round of applause. And our musicians, thank you. Oh, we don't want to let that be. We don't. That was so beautiful. But we are going to take that message into our meditation. So I invite everyone just to get comfortable in your seats. Sit upright but relaxed. And if it's comfortable, you can close your eyes. And if you're watching online, please do the same. And let's just take a nice deep breath in. And let it go. Breathing in again. And let it go. And since the daily word today is joy, let's do a joy meditation. So I want you to envision wherever you are right now, sitting in a beautiful field of deep green. And coming out from above is a beautiful light. And it is shining down on you. It is shining up through you. It is shining all around you. Seeing and feeling this beautiful, loving, joyful light. You can't help but feel the beauty, the love, the joy that is all around you, that is within you. And as you sit in quiet meditation, both right here and now, and within your mind's eye, you can feel that energy of love, the energy of joy, and the connection that you feel with each and every living thing on this planet. The colors of life are all around you. You're sitting in a deep green forest, and there's so many different colors of green in the trees all around you. Above you, blue sky. And in the forest are flowers of every color. Pinks, purples, reds, oranges, yellow. The whole spectrum is around you. And as you commune with nature, you can't help but feel even more joy, even more connection, even more love for this amazing, beautiful planet that we call home. Breathing in and breathing out, connecting to that energy of life that is within you. And touching that part of you that is uniquely you. There is no one exactly like you. Just like there are no two trees exactly the same, no two snowflakes exactly the same. We are all individual expressions of the divine. And so knowing that we can return to this quiet place of meditation anytime, we are going to bring our focus and awareness back to our seats, back to the sanctuary, back to this present moment. And So very gently wiggle your fingers, your toes, and let's open up our eyes. Taking one final breath in. And if you want, raise your hands up to bring your energy back up. And let it go. All right. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, gentlemen. So I always have to say after I do a meditation, I'm like, floating. How many of you feel a little floaty? Is that a word? It is a word, right? There are floaties. Right? We can be floaties too. As a matter of fact, I went to the beach yesterday for the first time this whole season. I know summer just officially started, but we've had some summery days, and so I finally made it to the beach. And I don't know if it's as a mother, but I'm watching kids put their floaties in the ocean, and I'm like, we were not allowed to do that as kids. I just had this vision of those floaties literally floating out into, ending up in China or something. Well, I don't know, where were they? They would probably end up in England first before they made it to China, but, well, the lifeguards seem to be okay with it, so I'm like, all right, I won't worry about it if they're okay with it. So, anyway, so today, my talk title, as you can see, is The Colors of Life, but it's also Pride Month, which is one of the reasons why I chose the topic. But before we get into that, I always have to find all those fun, wacky holidays. So I don't know if it was a coincidence, but today is also Global Beatles Day. It is, it's Global Beatles Day, so that was perfect. Yeah. But it's also Color TV Day. Color TV Day. Most of you in this room, most of you, can remember before we had color TVs, right? How many of you should probably have the opposite? How many of you were like, I don't know what she's talking about. We've always had color TV. A few of you, yeah, a few of you. Always had color TVs. And it's interesting that the first broadcast was 1954, if my data is correct, so it was even before I was born. The Tournament of Roses Parade, which is my absolutely favorite parade ever. When I moved to California almost 20 years ago, that was the very first thing I went to do, was to go see that parade and actually go see the floats, which you can do after the parade, which is incredible, right? It's just amazing to be that, close to all those amazing colors and flowers. So Color TV Day, I can't even imagine not watching, TV today in color, but we still can. We still can. So, as I said, it is Pride Month. It is Pride Month. And, last week I shared all about, religion, and we talked a little bit about, what unity is about. And right off our website, Unity is an open-minded, accepting spiritual community that honors all paths to God. And it helps people discover their spiritual potential and their purpose, which is, what we talk about and what we sing about. So, we talk about all of this, and the question is, how much are we truly living it? How much are we living it? So I have a number of quotes today, and this is one of my favorites. What I like about the rainbow, right, it's the colors of life, is that it fits us all. It's all the colors. It represents all the genders. It represents all the races. It's the races of humanity, right? We have a right to our own identity. I believe that we have a right to our own identity. And, when you talk about gender identity, right, when I was growing up, we only had an understanding of two genders, right? Not today, right? Not that there weren't different gender identities before I was growing up, but it wasn't really talked about. It wasn't really talked about. So I didn't put it up there, but I have it here on my notes, and there's a whole list of different gender identities. So if you identify with the gender that you were born with, you are called cisgender. Cisgender. But if you don't identify with the gender you were born with, and let's say you want to transition to a different gender, that's called being transgender. But there's so many others. There's non-binary, there's genderqueer, there's agender, bigender, gender fluid questioning. Right? And so if we apply this to spirituality, if we apply this to religion, we could even ask ourselves, how many of you practice the religion of your upbringing today? Not many of us. So we could say we might be gender fluid, religious fluid, or religious questioning, right? And, you know, many people still practice the religion that they were brought up with, or they don't even practice. You could be a cisgender of your religion. I was brought up in the Jewish religion, Jewish faith. I don't practice that anymore. You know, we also look at non-conforming, this whole idea of non-conforming. And once again, growing up, you know, there was very strict gender, you know, it's like if you're a girl, you wear dresses, right? And if you're a boy, you wear pants. And we weren't even allowed to wear pants when I went to school. I remember standing on the street corner in Long Island in the wintertime, freezing, right? Other people can relate to that. And I was like, this is so unfair. Why can't we wear pants, right? But, you know, it wasn't until years later that it was acceptable for women to wear pants. And before that, it was like, oh, well, that must be gender nonconforming if a woman's wearing pants. And God forbid a boy should go to school with a dress on back then, right? So, you know, my son is a gay man. And, you know, when he was a little boy, he used to love to wear his twin sister's dresses. He would love to play dress up in her clothes. And we didn't think anything of it. We didn't think anything of it. Why, you know, what difference does it make what you clothe yourself in? It's right, who am I as a person, which is really most important. So, when I think about New Thought, Unity, Centers for Spiritual Living, which are cousins of, you know, each other, if you apply this whole idea of gender and being gender queer to spirituality, you could say that Unity is gender queer of Christianity, right? You really could apply that, right? Because we embrace practical Christianity, which is slightly out of the norm of traditional Christianity. So now you're all going to walk out of here and say, oh my God, I didn't know I was queer. So, again, with Pride Month, they've actually changed the flag, too. This is the Pride Progress flag. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm actually wearing the button. I got this in Asheville a couple weeks ago. But when I was looking at the Pride Progress flag, it has 12 colors, just like we have 12 powers in Unity. So I was like, how do we apply this? How do we apply this? So the color red is all about life and passion, which is, in Unity, one of the powers, which is life, right? So red is life. Orange is healing. It's a color, and it's also zeal. Zeal in Unity power. Yellow is sunlight. In the flag, it means wisdom in Unity. That's the power of wisdom, yellow. Then we have green is obviously nature, but in Unity, it means strength. It means strength. We look at indigo, which is also kind of a blue. That means serenity. And in Unity, it's all about faith. The color blue equals faith. We have violet, spirit, and power. Black, brown on the flag is people of color, and in Unity, it's about release and understanding. Release and understanding. Then we have pink and baby blue, which are what, growing up? Right, the traditional colors of being a boy and a girl, but now those colors apply to being transgender on the flag, right? And in Unity, it's the powers of love and imagination, love and imagination. And then white is intersex, but it also means transitioning. And white is also the absorption of all of the colors of the rainbow. So we all have all of those powers within us, no matter what our gender identity is. And if you go to the unity.org website, it says about LGBTQ, Unity proudly supports the LGBTQIA+ community. We believe everyone is divine and that every person shines with the light of God. That is what we stand for. That is what we stand for. So no matter what your gender identity is, you have the light of God surrounding you, in you. All right, so applying this as well to being human. So we may have different religions, different languages, different colored skin, but we all belong to one human race, right? One human race. And Kofi Annan is a Ghanaian diplomat who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2001. And so when we think about diversity, we think about the colors of life, it applies not just to gender, obviously it applies to race, but it also applies to all of nature. There is so much diversity in nature. Different species, different colors, it's just amazing. So look at these beautiful faces. Look at these beautiful faces. There was a landmark paper that came out based on the Human Genome Project that uncovered that there is actually no such thing as races. There is only one race. There's only one race, and it's according to biology. Right, so look at these beautiful faces. Right, today we talk more about ancestry than we do about race. That is more the correct term. What is your ancestry? Not what's your race. We're all one race. But like different religions, right, different political ideologies, right, it's all about having common beliefs among groups of people. We all have a common belief. We come here at Unity because we all have this belief that we are divine expressions of God, and we get to choose how we want to live our lives. So isn't it amazing that we're all made in God's image? Yet there's so much diversity among people. I want you to just take a quick moment, look to your left, look to your right, and if you know the person to your left, to your right, look in front of you, look behind you. Desmond Tutu coined the term Rainbow Nation. And he, at post-apartheid, he said, we are the rainbow people of God because there were so many different cultures in South Africa, in post-apartheid South Africa. So this whole concept of rainbow people, he coined that term. And once again, you think about unity. There are over 650 churches. I went online and I researched and I said, okay, well, how many unity churches are there in the world? Over 650, apparently we don't know exactly how many, but 650 worldwide and over 1,700 licensed and ordained leaders. Do you think any two of them are the same? How many of you have been to other unity churches? Right? Almost every one of us. Right? Many of us like to travel and go to different churches, or we've moved from different places. Every time I would travel, I would go find a unity church or a Science of Mind church to go to because I wanted to hear a similar message. And no two of them were ever exactly alike. And I kind of liked that. Right? I kind of liked that because I always heard something a little bit different from a different, minister, different leader. And so they all have their own feel, but they're all a little different. They're all the same, but they're all different. So here we go. It says the exact thing that I was just saying. We are all one, but different. Different, but the same. Different, but the same. Do you know there's only 0.1% difference among humans in our DNA? 0.1%. And yet, look at all the diversity. Look at how different we all look. I'm a people watcher. I'm a people watcher. Whenever I go somewhere, no matter where I am, I'm looking at people. My husband says I stare. I don't realize I'm staring. I feel like I'm just looking, but I'm taking in, like, wow. I'm looking at people's faces, and I'm like, wow. There's, one person's face is really square. One person's face is long and oval. I'm looking at people's noses. I'm fascinated by noses. I don't know why. I don't know why. My grandfather had a big traditional Jewish nose. And so I've been fascinated by noses my entire life. But I look at how different we all look. Body shapes, hair types, all kinds of differences, and yet we're only 0.1% different. That blows my mind. It really does. It really does. And as standing up here, being one of your guest speakers and one of the people that delivers messages with Dr. Herbert, right? We are one, but we are different. We are different, but we are the same. We are, delivering the same message, but in a different way. And, there's positives about that, obviously, but we also want to have some consistency. And Unity actually started a year ago a branding program so that all Unity churches have the same brand, right? But that doesn't mean that they're exactly the same. They're one but different. So here's our affirmation. My true colors are beautiful like a rainbow, right? From Cyndi Lauper's song, right? True Colors. So we'll say that loud and proud. Everyone? My true colors are beautiful like a rainbow. Absolutely. So, Gandhi said, different religions are beautiful flowers from the same garden. The need of the moment is not for one religion, but mutual respect for devotees of all religions or different religions. And he went on to say that they're equally true, though being received and perceived by humans makes them equally imperfect. Or he actually said human instruments makes them equally imperfect. So think about that for a moment. Right? Equally true, but we receive and interpret them as being imperfect. So if there are many paths to spirituality, to God, there's no one right path. There's what path serves me, right? And we welcome all paths here at Unity. And just like gender, let's go back to gender for Pride Month. We don't want one gender. We would not be able to reproduce. Would any of you be here right now if there was only one gender on the planet? I don't know which animal or there's a species that actually can change genders, right? We're working on that. We are. But we still need two genders at least to reproduce. So we need to respect all gender identities, all gender identities. Right? When I first started exploring this with my kids, who were very vocal about it, I didn't understand half the terminology. I didn't know what is gender fluid, gender queer, some of the others I mentioned before. And the more I embraced this idea, I was like, man, I wish I knew about this when I was a kid, right? I wish I knew about this when I was a kid. I mean, I'm very clear about, being cisgender, but I've watched my kids struggle with questioning, being straight, being bi, being gay, being accepted, not being persecuted. My son didn't want to go to the Pride Parade because he was fearful of what might happen. Right? We need to let that go. Let it be and let it go. Right? We need to be respectful and, accepting. Now, we've also expanded the whole rainbow, too, when it comes to marketing and, our idea of beauty, too. Right? When I was growing up, the only faces on magazines were women with blonde hair and blue eyes. You guys remember that? It was Cheryl Tiegs and who was the other famous model back in the day? Farrah Fawcett, a few others. And so growing up with brown hair and curly hair, which is blown out today, but but other curly hair girls know what I'm talking about. We never quite felt attractive. We didn't feel like we belonged, right? People of color were not on those magazines either. But now we've expanded the idea of what beauty is, and even age. Martha Stewart was on Sports Illustrated, right, in a bathing suit, right? So older women, you don't have to be skinny anymore. You don't have to be tall anymore. There's no box that we need to fit ourselves into to say, well, this is the definition of beauty, or this is the definition of gender, or this is the definition of religion. We get to decide. We get to decide. You know, when it comes to religion, there's a lot out there. This chart is just the top religions, top 5 and then a handful. There's over 4,000 religion, faith groups, and denominations that exist around the world. 4,000, right? Christianity may be the most practiced in the world, but it's not the only one. Now, there are many paths to God. You know, I used to get really upset when I'd see signs that would say, Jesus saves. Because growing up Jewish, we didn't believe Jesus was our Savior. Jesus was a prophet. Jesus was, you know, Jesus was Jesus. And it got me really thinking about how can I now, as a minister, reframe that. Right? So I don't have to, you know, we don't believe Jesus is the only Son of God. We're all sons and sisters and daughters of God. We have the indwelling Spirit. We've talked about that. We are all divine expressions of God. So Jesus saves just means that Christ consciousness within me, when I connect to that, that allows me to be in truth. And so whatever I'm concerned about, worrying about, not knowing the truth about, when I reconnect to that presence within me, that saves me. So anytime we see something from another religion or belief, instead of immediately saying, no, that's not true, I don't believe that, how can we see that through the lens of love? How can we see that through the lens of understanding that's just a different path than maybe we're on? It's a different path. So we say let go and, right? Let go and let God. Okay, well, what does that mean? Let go and let God. Well, if God is within, what am I letting go of? I'm letting go of the human need to try to figure it all out. Let the indwelling Spirit, again, connecting to that. The truth is. So once again, at Unity, we believe all paths to spirituality. So I don't know if everybody knows who Harvey Fierstein is, but he said, accept no one's definition of your life. Define yourself. Define yourself. And so parents, close your eyes, close your ears. That means your kids get to decide who they want to be. We raise them. We give them the best tools, the best support, the love we can, so they can go out into the world and be themselves. Be themselves. So no matter what your family tells you, or your church tells you, or your community tells you, or society tells you you should be, no, you define who you want to be. Young children know at a very young age, many of them, who they want to be. They'll tell you who they want to grow up to be, right? They'll tell you. And when I was growing up, I mean, I wanted to be the ballerina. I probably wanted to be some other things, but I do remember very clearly wanting to be a ballerina at one time. But when I was in the business world for a number of years, I realized that really wasn't who I was. I wasn't allowing my creative side to come forward, and so I decided to be an actor. And it horrified my family. Mostly my dad, who's very traditional. It was like, you're going to quit your IT corporate job and move to New York and become an actress? Are you crazy? He's like, what are you going to do about health insurance? That was the concern. What are you going to do about health insurance? And of course, many jobs, they don't even provide health insurance. But it was like, no, I was called to do that. I caught the bug. And I went to New York and pursued an acting career for a period of time. And then many years later, after finding a New Thought church and started taking classes and became a practitioner, and then eventually I became a minister, I didn't tell my mom for years I was going to a church. Because my dad would have rolled over in his grave literally would have rolled over in his grave because I was only supposed to date Jewish boys and marry a Jewish doctor or lawyer, which I didn't. I married a Cuban artist. Right. So I think about, how difficult it was for me to, even as an adult, tell my parents, I'm going to New York, I'm going to church, I've become a minister. Even in my own family, it's just, we don't talk about what Ellen does. And I know many other people, their families don't necessarily agree with what you do. They have this idea, this identity with who you're supposed to be or who you were versus who you are. We need to be who we are. Right? My son came out to me years ago. My daughter came out to be a tattoo artist. That was not in my plan for her. But neither of my kids chose the traditional path of going to college or doing what I did. They have their own identity. And I support that, and I love them for that. And, I want them to be happy more than anything else. So, love is love. There's a great commercial series that came out years ago. If you look it up on YouTube, Love is Love promotion. But since it's Pride Month, people remember the Crayola box of crayons? Right, the 64 box. Well, this isn't the exact 64 box, but let's talk about this whole concept here. So we have our primary colors, right? Our basic colors. We have, what are these primary colors here? Yeah. So we have red, and this one is just red. We have yellow, this one's actually called canary, and this one's blue. So we have our primary colors. But what happens when we mix them? Right? So if we mix these two, what do we get? Right? So you can type this into the chat there in Facebook, right? If you mix yellow and blue, you get green. And if you mix red and blue, you get purple, right? So we got purple, next one. And then, of course, if we mix the last two, red and yellow, we get orange. But let's talk about this even more, right? There are so many shades and diversity of color, right? We have violet red. We have red violet. Variations. We also have wild strawberry. Cotton candy. Right? Cotton candy. Let's look at a few of the yellows. Obviously, I have to put my glasses back on and read these. We have goldenrod. We have dandelion. And we have laser lemon. Laser lemon. So you guys get the idea. You get the idea. I mean, when you were a kid, and obviously you don't have to be a kid because this is fun for me too, and you pull those crayons out of the box, midnight blue, turquoise blue. Do you think they're in the box saying, man, I really want it to be turquoise. Why can't I be turquoise? I want to be midnight. We want all those colors of the rainbow. We want all the colors of the rainbow. So our lesson today, if you haven't figured it out, our lesson today is from unity comes multiplicity. From multiplicity comes diversity. And from diversity comes a rainbow of divinity. And so let's do our affirmation again. Right? Say it proudly. Ready? My true colors are beautiful like a rainbow. And in closing, because it is Global Beatles Day, and hopefully you guys remember that song, right? We all live in a yellow submarine, but before that, think about the verse. This song really is about diversity and acceptance. As we live a life of ease, every one of us has all we need. Sky of blue and sea of green in our yellow submarine. And it's all together now. That's what we're going to sing. Everybody? All together now, 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 all together now. Yes, thank you. All right. Woo, I need some water. Well, it is time for our affirmative giving, our offering. And before we do the mudra, just remember, this is your spiritual home. We want to support this beautiful sanctuary, all of the teams that come together every Sunday to put our service on, to come together, to be with each other, to share with each other, to be in unity with each other. And if you're visiting, if you like what you heard today, please put some money in the basket. You can also do Venmo. You can go online. You can send a check, any which way. So let's do our mudra. So divine love through me multiplies and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
I've been climbing my way through the sky, searching for answers that I'll never find. Lose my breath as I fall, learning to fly, letting go of it all. Learning to fly, letting go of it all. I've been trying to open my eyes, take it all in as the world passes by, getting lost in the twists and the turns, finding these questions inside me still burn, finding these questions inside me still burn. I'm gonna live like tomorrow never comes. There's no end in sight. Tonight we black out the sun. Better hold on tight before you know it's gone. And live like tomorrow never comes. I keep looking for some kind of sign, trying to hold on this race against time. I can't say where the next bend might be. That is the beauty of life's mystery. That is the beauty of life's mystery. I'm gonna live like tomorrow never comes. There's no end in sight. Tonight we black out the sun. Better hold on tight before you know it's gone. And live like tomorrow never comes.
Yes, let's live like tomorrow never comes, which means live for today. And so let's know that the energy in this basket is going to do its good work in our center and out into the world. And we bless it and we say thank you. And we let it go and we let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. Tomorrow is today, yesterday. Imagine that. It's one of those conundrums. Anyway, the paradigm in which we live. Thank you all for being here. This has been an exciting service. And now we are coming close to the end, so we'll make the announcements. Reverend Ellen will be our prayer partner. She'll be happy to meet you over in the corner there to pray. Say thank you, say please, say how can I. As soon as we've finished the service today, we will have our community connection meeting. And that'll be around 5 minutes after 12, or shorter. And at 12:30, Kirtan will be here to do our meditation. Okay, so she'll be here after that. So please stay for that. It's a delightful hour service, not service, meditation, play the drums, chant. It's fun. For our town hall meeting, our community connection meeting, we'll be talking about board appointments, consciousness, abundance of consciousness, finance update, minister search, and the update on the goals that you all selected in February when we voted on them. And then today we celebrate some of our volunteers, number one of which are our tellers. So if you are a teller, I would invite you to raise your hand and say, let us say thank you. These are the folk who count your in-house offerings. So if you send them in online, they are counted differently. But if you put the money in the basket, if you send a check here, it gets counted literally through our fingers and goes into the bank after the service today. And then we wish to thank everybody who volunteers for anything. Mainly because we are all volunteering for life here. We are volunteering to be one, we are volunteering to participate, and this is our spirit home. Some people get paid for an hourly for what they do, but even with that, they volunteer their spirit and their souls, as so does everybody else. So I invite you to join us, because without it, we don't go anyplace. So now please join us as we say our closing prayer. So please stand for that, and then as we sing our closing song, and I will invite you to take a 2-minute walk around, go to the bathroom, grab a cup of tea or something, and then come right back and we will have our meeting and go home, or stay for Kirtan and enjoy this wonderful day. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
On earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator, united all on me. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Be my
that rainbow of color and life surround you and everyone that you come in contact with. Spread the love, spread the light, spread the joy today, and we look forward to seeing you all back here next week. Namaste.